Reverend Warnock, thank you so much for being here. I want to start by getting your reaction to Kelly Loeffler. She tweeted out her statement not long ago saying that she, too, would essentially vote to invalidate the election results in multiple states, presumably your state and her state of Georgia. Your thoughts?
Thanks so much, Joy. Good to be here with you again. Listen, this is very disappointing, but it's not at all surprising. The one good thing I can say about my opponent is that she's consistent. She is consistently putting her own interests above the people she's supposed to be representing. And so, you know, it's quite a development, to be sure. But for weeks, we've been calling on Kelly Loeffler to stand up for the people of Georgia, to honor the voices of the people she wants to represent by honoring their votes. And she's consistently refused to do that. And so while this is disappointing, it's surprising. Georgians need a senator, not a sycophant. They need someone who understands that their job is to represent the people. Kelly Loeffler is the unelected senator of Georgia. And in just a few hours, the people of Georgia are going to stand up and correct that. She was appointed. They have been deeply disappointed. And I'm just inspired by the movement that we're feeling on the ground right here in Georgia.
And I will note that in an interview the other day, Kelly Loeffler did refuse to even address the call, the potentially criminal call that the president made to the Secretary of State in Georgia, in which he demanded that he find him 11,780 votes. But I want to ask you about that call. I want to play a little bit of it. And this is Donald Trump saying that if the Secretary of State wouldn't find him those votes, it will depress voter turnout. Take a listen.
You know, the people of Georgia know that this was a scam. And because of what you've done to the president, a lot of people aren't going out to vote. And a lot of Republicans are going to vote negative because they hate what you did to the president. OK, they hate it.
You know, one of the things that you've seen is that in some counties, including the county where Donald Trump is going to have his rally tonight, that was actually the lowest turnout county in the state in November at 29.8%. What do you think that all of this news about, you know, Kelly Loeffler saying she'll vote to disenfranchise voters and, you know, the president now trying to muscle the Secretary of State, in your mind, has that impacted turnout one way or the other?
Well, we're seeing record voter turnout in Georgia. Over 3 million people have voted. And I think we're going to see a strong turnout tomorrow. I've been moving all across this state. I was in Valdosta, was in Albany. Folks are standing out in the rain at the rallies that we've been having. And I think that these politicians are unfortunately focused on themselves. We saw or heard the phone call from Donald Trump. And what I'm saying to the people of Georgia is pay no attention to him. He's on his way out the door, whether he recognizes it or not. We saw the senator from South Carolina call over here a few weeks ago. All of these folks meddling in Georgia elections, the state of Texas. And we've got an unelected senator who obviously doesn't believe in the voices of the people she's supposed to be representing. And so the people of Georgia have an opportunity to fix that tomorrow, and they're going to do it. And so I'm telling everybody who's watching, if you've already voted, thank you so much for exercising your civic duty and your right as a citizen. But you got to get on the phone, call everybody you know, text everybody you know. And the way to fix this is to give Kelly Loeffler the same fate. Send her home. We need a senator. Fire her. And hire somebody who will be thinking about the people of Georgia.
Now, I did see that you tweeted at Tyler Perry that he was looking for some info to make sure that he could get out to vote. So I see that you are talking with constituents one-on-one. Last question to you. I was on a call with Black Church PAC this weekend. They were expressing a lot of concern about the attacks on you and on the Black church more broadly. Is that getting more African Americans interested in voting, just being attacked, having Trump attack Fulton County, meaning Black voters there as well?
No, I don't think it bodes well at all. And I think people take unction to this. But listen, Kelly Loeffler's been running the most negative campaign in the history of Georgia. She's desperate because she doesn't have a case to make for why she should remain in that office. So she's been trying to misrepresent me and misrepresent my record. She came to my church. She sat there in that pulpit and talked about how honored she was to be there. And now that she's in this race against me, apparently she's forgotten about all of that. But it doesn't matter. I'm focused on the folks in Georgia. They are wondering when are they going to get some COVID relief. She could have stood up for them this week and given them, stood up for the $2,000 stimulus check. She could have been pushing Mitch McConnell to put it up for a vote. She missed a vote on Friday, which would have given aid to military families. We need a senator.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.